Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing great. I am Neha Rajvanshi and I welcome you all in today's class, that is English class of class 10th. So students, in today's video we will start with our next topic of writing syllabus. This is our story writing topic. So yes, in our examination we will have this question in which we have to write one story. We will have two options, right? Two options will be there and we will have outlines, and after reading the outlines we have to identify, we have to recognize the story, and we have to write complete story in a proper manner. So this question will be there, and in today's video we will see all the important points that we have to take care while writing one story, and we will discuss all the important things that are needed to write a complete, or we can say perfect story. So now let's begin our today's video, that is based on story writing. So students, first of all we are having some important points. So story writing, it's again a very easy topic because हम बचपन से stories सुनते आए हैं, लिखते आए हैं. So actually it's a very easy question, and we can score very good marks in this question because we will be having outlines. So that outlines, yes, they are actually very much helpful. After reading the outlines, it will be very easy for us to identify that what story is there, which story is there, and generally जो भी स्टोरी हमें मिलेंगी वो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि हमने कभी सुनी नहीं है, कभी पढ़ी नहीं है, और जो बिल्कुल ही हमारे लिए अननोन हो, ऐसा नहीं होगा. जो भी स्टोरी वहाँ पे आएगी दैट विल बी फैमिलियर टू अस, बिकॉज जनरली जो बिल्कुल बेसिक स्टोरीज हैं, जनरल स्टोरीज हैं, कॉमन स्टोरीज हैं, वही एग्जाम में आती हैं. ओके, सो नाउ वी आर हैविंग सम ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स दैट वी हैव टू एक्चुअली टेक केयर while writing a story. So let's see and let's consider all the important points. The first one is use the given outline. So yes, first of all we have to read the complete outlines that are given to us, and we have to use those outlines while writing our story. Okay, why? Because all the outlines, they actually help us, they actually guide us to make a perfect sequence of the story. Okay, so yes, use the given outlines. Always use the outlines that are given to you in your question paper. Second is write the story in past tense. Yes, yet it's a very important point that when we are writing the story, so we have to use past tense only. The outlines generally they will be in present tense, but we cannot write the story in present tense. We have to convert that sentence into past tense. Why? Because the story में हम क्या कहते हैं that once upon a time there was one lion, there was one king, right? We cannot say that one king is there, one lion is there, or one person is there, one monkey is there. No. So all these stories, they are in past tense only. So the outlines will be in present tense. I am repeating this thing. Generally outlines, they are in present tense, but we have to convert the tense, we have to change the tense, and we have to write the story using past tense. Okay, next is follow all the grammatical rules. Yes, we have to follow all the grammatical rules regarding all the things that tense should be in a proper order, and the sentence structure, sentence sequence will be in a proper manner. We have to use adjectives also, we have to use pronoun also, adverb should be there. So all the grammatical rules, they should be followed in a perfect manner. We have to use all the parts of speech, but yes, we have to consider all the rules, all the grammatical rules. Next is the sentence structure, and the sequence of the sentence should be appropriate. Yes, I have told you this thing that the sentence structure and the sequence of the sentence, that should be appropriate, that should be in a perfect order. Next is always give the suitable title to the story. Yes, another important point we are having here, when we will be have the outlines. So in that outlines we won't have the title, but when we are writing the story in our answer sheet, so first of all we have to write the title of the story, we have to give the appropriate title to that story. So now this may be your question that how can we write the title. So students, use a very perfect title, and it should be short, and it should be perfectly related with the story. You can use the characters of the story, like you can write the lion and the mouse, we all know the story. Okay, we can write the hare and the tortoise, we know the story. So you can use the character of the story in the name. Okay, like you can write the farmer and his 4 sons. Okay, so इस तरह से जो स्टोरी के कैरेक्टर है, so after reading the outlines the story will be clear to you all. Okay, so now when you are very much sure that what the story is about, then you have to give a perfect and appropriate title. And yes, you can use the characters of the story in your title. If you are having no other idea then how can you write the title, then yes, you can use the characters only in the title. But yes, a title should be there when you are writing the story. So first of all, in the beginning you have to write the title, and yes, you can highlight your title also, you can underline your title. Okay, so it should be highlighted one, and yes, a title should always and always be there in the beginning of a story. Okay, next we are having consider the 3 parts of a story. So whenever we are having any story, whenever we are reading or we are writing any story, so always in a story there are 3 main parts. So what are these 3 main parts? We have to take care of these 3 main parts when we are writing the story. So first of all, let's try to understand about these 3 important parts. So first of all, in each and every story there is a beginning, then the next part is the middle part, and after that the last part is known as the climax of the story. So what are these 3 parts? Let's try to understand. Beginning means first of all we just give the introduction of all the characters, right? Then middle part comes, in which we can say one problem is there, one situation is there, and finally climax is there. It means that how the story gets a perfect ending. So these are the 3 parts: beginning, middle part and the climax part. So we have to take care of these 3 parts, and then only step by step, or in a perfect order, when we have to consider the sequence also, then we will be able to write a perfect story. So yes, a perfect beginning, then a perfect middle, and yes, a very appropriate climax. This should be there in our story. Okay, next is write a proper moral at the end of the story. It's another important point. It's just like the title of the story. When we are starting our story, so first of all we have to write the title. Similarly, when we have written the story, then at the end of the story we have to write a proper moral also, because all the stories, they are incomplete without a moral. Because what is the purpose of the story? The actual purpose of the stories is that always we learn something from the story, always we get a new lesson from the story. Okay, so we can say a lesson or the moral of the story, it should be there at the end of the story. So it is very important, just like the title of the story. And yes, the moral of the story, it will not be there in the question paper, but after completing the story we have to find out that what is the lesson of the story, what is the learning that we got from this story. So that can be the moral. So that moral we have to write at the end of the story. Then only we can say that yes, we have written a complete story. Then only our story writing, it will be considered as a complete story writing. Okay, so these are the basic things. These are some of the important points that we have to take care. So I am summarizing all the points one more time. So first of all, we have to write the title, then we have to start our story, we have to consider the outlines that are given to us, we have to consider that we have to use past tense, we have to follow all the grammatical rules, all the parts of speech we can use in our story, and a perfect sequence like beginning part, middle part and the climax part, that should be there. And at the end of the story we have to write one appropriate moral, one moral that is there in the story, or we can say one learning, one lesson that we got after reading that story. Okay, so now we are having some of the morals. So you can use these morals in your stories, because in this list we are having all the basic morals that are related with the story. So generally ऐसी story आएंगी जिनमें से you can use any morals. So yes students, you can learn all these morals so that you can use the appropriate moral with your story. So let's have a look. First of all, we are having a friend in need is a friend indeed. So all the stories that are related with friendship, so in those stories you can use this moral. This moral says that one friend that is there in the need time, or that is there in the required time, that is only a true friend, that is only a real friend. So this is a friend in need is a friend indeed. Okay, next is union is strength. So yes, there are so many stories that teach us about this thing, that how important it is to be united. So in all these stories we can write this moral, that is union is strength. Okay, next is we are having united we stand, divided we fall. So this is the same moral that we are having here. So we can write this moral in this way also, that is united we stand, divided we fall. So it means that जब तक हम लोग united है, then only we can expect that we can stand, but the time we are divided, definitely we will fall. So this is united we stand, divided we fall. Next moral is tit for tat. So this moral says that if you do evil, you will get evil, but if you will do good to others, definitely you will receive good from others also. So this is tit for tat, and there are yes so many stories that teach us this thing. Next one is as you sow, so will you reap. So this is the same moral. You can write this thing in this manner also, that is as you sow, so will you reap. Okay. Next one is think before you act. So yes, it's also very common moral that you can use appropriately in any story, that is always we have to think, always we should think before acting. Next one is wisdom is power. So all the stories that teach us this thing, that always we have to use our mind, our brain, and a person who is wise enough, so definitely he will overcome, he can overcome all the difficulties. So in all those stories we can write this moral, that is wisdom is power. Next one, where there is a will, there is a way. It's another very common moral, that is where there is a will, there is a way. It means no matter how many difficulties are there, if we are determined, if we are having willpower, if we definitely want to win, then definitely we can find any solution, we can find any way to overcome the situation. So this is where there is a will, there is a way. Next is never give up. Another important moral, that is never ever we have to give up, never ever we should give up. Next is honesty is the best policy. So all the stories that teach us about this value, that is honesty, so in that we can use this moral, that is honesty is the best policy. Next one, never tell a lie. So yes, never ever we should tell a lie. Next is one rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. So this is a very important moral that we can use in the stories that teaches about bad company, that teaches about the value of having a good company. So then we can use this, that if we are having one rotten apple in the basket, then definitely the rest of the apples, they will also be ruined, they will also be spoiled. So we can write one rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. Okay. Next one, slow and steady wins the race. So yes, the story in which we are having hare and the tortoise. So there we can use this title, that a person who is slow but who is steady, who is continuous on his task, definitely he is going to win the race. So no matter what the speed is, but what is the important thing? The important thing is the continuity of the work. So yes, the person, the one who is having the continuity, definitely he is going to win the race. Next one is do good, have good. Yes, we can use this in appropriately in our stories, do good and have good. Next one, once a liar, always a liar. So yes, if we are having the habit of telling a lie, then no one is going to trust us, then we will be a liar for everyone, and definitely for rest of our life. So it means once a liar, always a liar. Okay, so these are basic morals. You can learn these morals and then you can use these morals in your story. But yes, you have to use the moral after the writing your story. At the end of the story, without writing a moral, your story is still incomplete. So you have to give a perfect title also, and you have to write appropriate moral, the learning, the lesson that is there in the story. Okay. So now we are having some of the examples, we are having some outlines of the stories, and in our examination we will have this question in this manner also. Okay, so we will have outlines in this manner. After reading the outlines, we have to first of all recognize the story, and these outlines actually they are very much helpful, they are very much useful, because when we will read the outlines, the basic story that will be there in our mind, so we can frame our story in a very appropriate manner with the help of these outlines. Then next task, we have to write a perfect title of the story, and yes, at the end of the story we have to write a moral. So now let's see this question that we are having here. Now let's see this example, these outlines. So let's see. A cap seller, bundle of caps, sleeps under a tree, monkeys take away caps, cap seller wakes, no caps, looks up, some monkeys wearing caps, thinks of a plan, put on his cap, monkeys copy him, he throws his cap, the monkeys also throw, gathers the cap. Okay, so these are the outlines that we are having in front of us, and now I am sure that the story is completely there in your mind. You can frame a story after reading these outlines. Okay, so we can see that once upon a time there was one cap seller. He was having a bundle of caps with him, and yes, you have to remember this thing, that you have to make your story using past tense. So this is the reason we are using the sentence like once upon a time there was one cap seller. He was having a bundle of caps with him, and we can add some sentence also like he used to go from place to place. He used to go from village to village to sell his caps to earn his money. So one day when he was going to to one village, then he was very much tired. He wanted to have some rest. Then he slept under one tree. So when he was sleeping, there were some monkeys on the tree, and those monkeys they took away all the caps from the bundle of the caps. Now after some time, the cap seller he woke up. Okay, so this is present tense that we are having here, so we have to change the tense. Okay, so this is the reason we have to write the cap seller he woke up. Okay, and then he found that there was no cap in his bundle, all the caps were missing. So obviously he was very much worried, he was very sad. Then he looked up, and what did he see? He saw that on the tree there were some monkeys, and those monkeys who were wearing the caps, those monkeys were having his caps. So now the cap seller he tried to get his caps, but he was unable to have his cap back. Then he was having one idea. He thought of a plan, because he was very clever person. So what was the plan? According to plan, the cap seller he put on his cap. So he knew this thing that monkeys they always imitate others, because it is the habit of a monkey that they always copy others, they always imitate others. So because of this thing, according to his plan, he put on his cap, and yes, the monkeys they did as expected. They just imitate this thing, and they also copied the cap seller, and they also wore the caps. And now the cap seller he threw his cap. Okay, so monkeys when they saw this thing, then again they copied, and the monkeys they also threw the caps. So now the cap seller in a very hurried manner he gathered all his caps, he put his caps in his bundle, and then again he started his journey. Okay, so this is the story we can write in this manner. And yes, so the title we can give a cap seller and the monkeys, right? This is a perfect title. And what is the moral, what is the lesson that you got after reading this story? The lesson is that wisdom is power. Okay, the cap seller, because he was very much clever, because he used his idea, he used his plan, he used his brain, finally he was able to get his caps back. So the moral can be wisdom is power. Okay, so in this manner we have to read the outlines, we have to frame the story, and with the help of the outlines we have to write a perfect story with a title and a moral. Okay. So now we are having the story here. We can read this story also one more time. So let's see, this is the title. In this manner we have to write the title. We have to highlight the title, okay, that we are giving, so we can underline it. Okay, so here we are having a cap seller and the monkeys. This is the title. Now once a cap seller was going to sell his caps, so we are having past tense here. He was tired. He put down his bundle of caps and slept under a tree. There were many monkeys in the tree. They came down. They took away the caps from the bag, or we can say from the bundle. After some time, the cap seller woke up. He saw that there was no cap in the bag. He looked up. He saw the monkeys with his caps. Then he thought of a plan. He put on his cap. The monkeys, they imitated this thing. They copied this thing. They also put on the caps. Now he means the cap seller. So now he took off his cap. The monkeys also did the same. So then finally he was able to collect his caps, and then he went away. So this is the story, and finally we are writing the moral. So you can highlight moral also. Okay, so what is the moral? Moral is wisdom is power. Okay, so in this manner we can write a perfect story. So now we are having one more example here, that is there in front of us. So this is another story. So again we have to do the same thing. We have to read the outlines, and then we have to frame one story. So now let's see what this story is about. So we are having old farmer, four sons, quarreling. Farmer made them understand, but no effect. Called his sons to give a bundle of sticks, advised no on vain, break, untied the bundle, gave a stick, broke, taught lesson, realized, left quarreling. Okay, so these are the outlines that we are having. So after reading the outlines, now we can imagine the story, we can frame the story. This story is about old farmer and his four sons. So we can write this title like Old Farmer and his four sons. Okay, so I am very much sure that you all are able to write this story. Yes, the story is very much simple. Once there was one old farmer. He was having four sons, but his four sons always they used to quarrel with each other. The farmer, he tried to make them understand that it's a very bad habit, but his sons, they never listen to his father. So now the farmer, he was very much disappointed, he was very much sad because of this habit. So now when he realized that there is no effect on his advice on his son, so finally now he was having one idea. One day he called his sons to him, and then he gave them a bundle of sticks. Okay, and then he asked his sons to break the bundle. All the four sons, they tried one after another, but none was able to break the bundle. So now finally the farmer, he untied the bundle, and now he gave one single sticks to each of his sons. So now it was very easy for his sons to break the stick, and very easily they were able to break the sticks. So now finally the farmer, he taught this lesson to his sons. Now finally he taught this thing, that how important it is to be united. So now finally the four sons of the farmer, they realized this thing. They realized that how bad this habit is, and now finally they left quarreling. Okay, so this is the story. Very easily we can frame the story, and yes, we have to write the title and the moral. So now let's have a look. Now let's read how can we make the story. So this is the title, an old farmer and his quarreling sons. We can write and his four sons also. Okay, so let's see. Once an old farmer had four sons. they always quarreled with one another. One day he thought of a plan. He is the farmer. He brought home a bundle of sticks. He asked his sons to break it. Every son tried to break it, but no one could break it. Now the father, or we can say the farmer, he untied the bundle and then he asked them to break the sticks. Okay, so this time he gave one single sticks to each of his sons and he asked them to break the stick. Now every son broke it very easily. Now the father said, so now finally the lesson is there, so we are writing here, if you live united like the sticks, you will be strong. So this was the lesson, this was the learning that the farmer, that the father, he gave to his sons, that if you live united just like the bundle of the sticks, then you will be strong and nobody can harm you. But if you quarrel with each other, if you will be like a single stick, then anyone can take advantage of that, then anyone can harm you. Okay, anyone can break you just like the stick. So finally the son, they learnt a lesson. Finally they realized this thing, and now never ever they quarrel, they left this bad habit. Okay, so this is a story and we can write a moral, that is, united we stand, divided we fall. So finally the four sons of the farmer, they realized this thing, that yes, united we stand and divided we fall. Okay, so in this manner we can write our story. It's a very easy topic. Again students, I am repeating this thing, that you have to read the outlines. After reading the outlines, the story will be there in your mind, then you will be able to frame a perfect story. You have to remember about the tense, that you have to use past tense only. You have to take care about all the grammatical rules, and yes, one title should be there and one moral should be there at the end of the story. So these are the basic things, these are the important things that you have to take care, and then you will be able to write one story. Okay, so in our examination we will be having two options of the stories, two stories will be there. We have to choose one story, we have to write one story only. Okay, so learn the morals that we have discussed in this video, because you can use any one of that moral appropriately, moral that will be appropriate, that will be perfect, that will be proper with your story. Okay, so in the next video we will see some new topic. So just be with me and see you in the next video. Thank you.